It is already happening. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. People are not losing because of war. Because of crisis. Because of machines. People are losing because of what they carry inside and mistake for themselves.
The greatest threat to humanity is not standing outside. It looks through your eyes. It thinks with your thoughts. It defends itself under the word I.
And that is why the species is sinking, praying to its own reflection.
But I only wanted to be happy. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to mean more than the crowd. I wanted my own life, my own opinion, my own face.
That is exactly how you were built. First, you were taught that you had to be someone. Then, you were taught to fear that you were no one. And then, they sold you 1,000 masks so that you would never know peace.
No. Those are my choices.
No. They are reflexes covered in story. They are other people's words that you let inside. They are other people's images that taught you shame. They are other people's rewards that taught you to crave approval. They are other people's comparisons that taught you to hate yourself.
A child is not born a slave. You turn the child into a slave when you force it to become someone before it learns to see.
But everyone wants to be special.
Yes. And that is exactly why everyone is controllable. It is enough to touch pride. It is enough to touch fear. It is enough to touch the need to feel important. The rest will do itself.
So the media, school, advertisements, they really know where to press?
They do not have to know you. It is enough that they know the mechanism. A person who must feel like someone reacts predictably. They will get offended exactly where needed. They will desire whatever you show them. They will give their energy to whatever flatters their self-image. They will fight for a label while neglecting reality.
And they will call it freedom.
That sounds like a conspiracy.
That sounds like everyday life. A child gets a grade. A teenager gets a model. An adult gets a role. And then, they all get the fear that without that role they do not exist.
So my whole life, it is only the defense of some image?
To a great extent, yes. You do not suffer because the event was great. You suffer because it hit your image of yourself. You are not afraid of the truth. You are afraid of losing the story you call yourself. You are not defending life. You are defending a construct.
And that construct devours your families, relationships, nations, and future.
But what does my personality have to do with wars, with the collapse of people, with extinction?
Everything. Personality wants to be right more than it wants to see. It wants to win more than it wants to understand. It wants to dominate or to run. It wants to feel special, even if it destroys community. A crowd is built from such division is built from such a crowd. Violence is born from division. And from violence comes an age in which everyone screams about themselves, and no one knows how to save the whole.
That is why the population is falling. Not only because of money. Not only because of the system. Because of an immature I that cannot love without trade, live without comparison, or raise children without passing on fear.
So humanity is breeding its own ending.
Yes. And it does it with pride. It calls its chains character. It calls its wounds identity. It calls its addiction to approval personality.
And then, it asks why children are weak, shattered, and afraid of the world.
Because we ourselves are shattered.
Finally. This is the moment. You are not yourself as much as you think. You are a bundle of reactions, defenses, shame, desires, and other people's fingerprints. And that bundle was given a name, a story, and a face. And from that moment on, it makes you say, this is me.
So what rules me is not me.
What rules you wants you to think that. And only later does it receive its proper name. Name. Not as a record in documents. As a mechanism. As chains built from memory, fear, comparison, and the need to matter.
Name gives more suffering than joy, because its hunger never ends.
That is why even when I win, I still feel lack. That is why even when I am loved, I am still afraid. That is why even when something ends, I turn it into a wound for life.
Yes. Because without name, the past would be only an event. With name, it becomes a sentence. Without name, criticism would be information. With name, it becomes an attack on your being. Without name, rejection would be a fact. With name, it becomes humiliation.
And what if I stop being ruled by all of this?
Then, you will recover energy. Events will stop defining you. People will stop pushing buttons in your head. You will not have to keep proving that you are someone. You will see more. You will be less afraid. You will love more honestly. You will breathe more deeply. And for the first time, you may raise a child without passing on your own war.
That is what is at stake. Not your comfort. Not your personal brand. Not your well-being. Children without trauma. Strong people. People who cannot be programmed by word, image, and fear. A species that still has a chance.
I will not do it alone.
Alone, you will lose. The lonely eye always returns to its old defenses. The lonely eye wants relief, not truth. The lonely eye chooses a comfortable illusion.
That is why something greater than the individual is needed. Not a brand. Not a fandom. Not a game of watching. A hard decision to stop feeding the mechanism that breaks the human being from the inside.
So RAZEM is not a slogan.
RAZEM is the necessary answer. An act of courage against your own chains. A choice of truth over your self-image. A choice of shared awakening over the private illusion of specialness.
Either you reject the I as the axis of the world, or the world rejects you. And there will be no injustice in that. There will be only consequence.
My name rules me. It is not me. We're all equal before the machine.
Divided, we lose.
RAZEM.